Hi everybody, welcome to Crypt Monkey Paints. Today we're going to be doing the two-headed troll, which I have already based, and his little piggy that he's going to throw, which I love so much. I've already made the custom base to go with it, and we have hit our 20 followers, so later on in the stream we will be pulling a name from the chat and giving this guy away. This is a mini from Reaper Bones 4 collection, and he also comes with, where's his rock? He can throw a rock, but I wanted to keep the rock. That way I can always have a rock. And I am going to let Ty do a shout out to all the lovely followers, and I so appreciate everybody, but I didn't want to mutilate the names, so go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, this is the most recent followers since our last stream, so we want to thank DragonEye3120, Batbug, Zombie47 Cora, You Know Me, Kayla, all of you guys, thanks for following. Ananian Violets, M Shale, we recognize your name from somebody that we follow, Michael Mordor. So you're welcome over here too, of course. And Azumi Walker, thank you guys so much for following.
Yes. So I really desperately want to stay on track tonight, and I want to get this guy finished. So I'm going to go ahead and get started painting. Here is the base that I did as well. Lovely swamp base, and Ty has put together a video of me making the base, the tree, and painting everything and getting a base coat on the guys themselves. So I'm going to jump right into getting the details done. And let me, before I do that, make sure that I get my screen going so I can see chat. There we go. Okay, hi everybody. Sorry. All right, so the pig is going to be pretty basic, so I think I might get a couple of coats on him real quick. I want to dry brush onto him just a Scholar Flesh color, and I painted him a real, piggy pretty pink. That is pretty much everything I used so far was a Reaper paint, and the Runic Glow is this really bright pink, which I think is the perfect piggy pink. So I'm just going to use this Scholar Flesh and do a real light coat of dry brushing on this guy just to give him a couple of more shades. And then I'm going to come in with, and it also end up making him look scratched too, which is perfect because he's about to be chucked across the room, or the swamp, whichever you want to call it. And it'll tone down too whenever I put the final wash coat over the top of it. So it's okay if it's kind of bright right now. And I need to pick a color for inside his ears, but I haven't really decided yet, to be honest. How's everybody out there doing tonight? I'm sorry. You're fighting spaghetti in the background? Why are you fighting spaghetti? And how are you losing? I'm sorry. I just have images of a spaghetti fight going through my head now. Oops. And he does have some tusks on him, so he's not really a fat pink pig, but it's my painting world, so I can do what I want. Glad to hear it. I was worried you wouldn't make it home in time to start painting. What are you painting? I think I'm going to put a little bit of Dirty Bone color into his ears. Nice little brush. Sorry, I'm just reading chat. Those hellhounds would be a lot of fun to paint. I painted one set of them that I had also had in the red resin, and I really just put a lot of shadow in and then dry brushed an orange and then a real light, not a light yellow, but a real light coat dry brush. At the next con, because at the last con we were at, I only had 5 of those mystery bags with me. And my embroidery machine has been going almost nonstop. It's got a break today to get me caught up on getting a bunch more of those mystery boxes and bags done. I actually, this week I've been playing around with my 3D printer, and I've got blue resin, red resin, and just the standard gray. But they're all, or the red and the blue are kind of clear. Thanks for the follow. Not sure who it was.
Max Universe.
Max. Thanks, Max. But I've been playing this week with mixing in colors to the blue resin, and I've managed to get a really deep purple. Where is it? I know it's up here somewhere. Oh, here it is. It looks almost black. This was the blue resin, and it was a crystal blue resin that I added a bunch of dye to, and it looks black now. And I love the way that one looks. And then I also added a couple other different colors, and it's going to be now, the one that I'm printing now is kind of like got a green hue to it. And I just saw, go across the screen, another follow. Thank you so much. Gabriel Fox, thanks. Batbug, it really boils down to having a really good printer that I'm really happy with. So on this guy, I'm going to start dry brushing him, but he's got all these little bumps, so I really, really want to bring those out to a really nice bright color. So I think I'm going to use my dry red, which I may start with and not end with, but we'll see. Yeah, that looks like it's going to take it down, but we'll see. I'm just going to do a real light coat. And if you guys have any questions about how I did this base, I'm happy to answer anything. But that's one of the things that I really like about having that little extra window, is I can show the things that don't really fit in the time frame of painting this. I can show those other steps. And honestly, basing is one of my favorite things to do. I absolutely adore it. And I do need to do a video where, or a live stream of, here's all these that are painted. Here's as many that's painted, and now we're going to build a base for it, because that would be so much fun. But every time I see a troll anything, I absolutely... Congratulations on defeating the spaghetti. I lost my train of thought. The spaghetti thing. That is awesome. I'm actually a pretty big fan of spaghetti. Oh, I know what I was saying. Every time I paint a troll, I just, every single time I want to put him in a swamp. It's where trolls belong, right?
Swamps and Twitter.
What?
Swamps and Twitter. Trolls, different kind of troll.
Oh, good Lord, no. No, I don't go Twitter trolling, thank you. Oh, yes, that is right. Okay, that's going to be the next time I paint a swamp, or next time I paint a troll, he's definitely, I'm going to build a bridge to go over him. That is definitely what's happening. All right, let him sit for a second. I am going to take, I took all of this, all of his fur. It looked like leather until I painted it, and then you can see the fur itself. So what I'm going to do is do a nice deep brown color over, not color, I'm sorry. I'm waiting for it to pop across my screen. I just heard the noise, but it's a delay from when it comes across the screen for the follow. What was the name?
Tech Priest Majoris.
Tech Priest Majoris. Thank you so much. See, now it just now popped up. So what I'm going to do is put a shade that's a really deep brown shade across all of his fur that he's wearing. And then after that's nice and dry, I'm going to take a really light color. It's a wolf gray. And I'm going to dry brush the heck out of that, and that'll bring all those furry bits really, it just really makes it look like a gray wolf pelt, which is really kind of awesome. That's okay. I'm happy to have the followers. It's kind of amazing.
Ep6 has a question about dry brushing.
It's a little more than that, Batbug. Sorry, I didn't see the question. It is exactly what it sounds like. Basically, and I'll show you on my hand, but it's where you want to get very little paint, like that's way too much, and you start brushing it off, and you can see how it gets really, really faint, and then you go over it, and that's when you get just the brush and the paint pick up the ridges in the model, and it'll highlight everything for you. So especially for a beginner, it's kind of a godsend. It'll pick up all those little highlights, like that little tail, and it's super simple. Like if you go too much, or like that's a little too light, get a Q-tip, a little bit of water, and you can tone it down. You can basically wash it away. And then also if you go over this whole thing with a shade, which is a thinner color, it's a very liquidy color, you can tone everything back down to the one color. The shading is what I'm doing right now. It's extremely liquid. It's almost like ink rather than paint. And you can see that it just sinks in to all the little crevices. Dry brushing is one of those things where it's like you can get this super detailed model, and you can go through and base paint everything and make sure that you don't do super thick layers of paint, because then you lose your details. But if you go through and get all your base paints done, you can literally do a shade, come over it with a dry brush, and boom, you're done. It's minutes to finish the whole thing. Well, once your base coat's done. That's why I didn't want to paint the whole model live on the show, because I mean, base painting is kind of boring to watch. It's just me going around and around and around and around with different colors. But it is also fun because as you're doing your base coat, you're really paying attention to all of the things that are on the model that you may not have noticed when they're white or gray or whatever color that this one happened to be, pure white. But what I didn't notice when I was first looking at him, I just thought that it was a fancy buckle, but it's actually a skull. It's like a lizard skull or something. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. So I went ahead and got the bone color out and did that with the bone color, and then I'll use. And this looked like a gem because it even had like a little swirl around it, so it looks like a gem set. So what I'm going to do is use one of my technical paints to do a gemstone. Yeah, one of my favorite things is adding shade. And honestly, there's a lot of times where I'll come in and I'll base coat the mini. I come in and I shade, and then I do my dry brushing, and then I come in and I shade on the top of that, and it just gives like 15 layers of, but it's all really thin paint or really thin coats of paint, so you don't lose any of your detail, which is really where it matters. Because if I just went over this and slabbed all the paint on, I would lose all of his ridges and bumps. Yes, that's the base in the corner. So what I did was I took just a round base and of course flipped it upside down like I usually do, because then it automatically has ridges. And then I put a base coat of paint underneath, where I basically just went with browns and greens, just imagining swampy water. And I put in there, hang on, eyeball sort of section. I'm getting right up underneath his chin, so I'm trying not to hit him. So I painted the base with random, swampy kind of colors. And then I went over and added a really light layer of resin. Oops, I missed a spot. And this time, I normally use a resin that just is a 24-hour cure time, but this one I went with a UV resin, just because I didn't have a whole lot of time in between what I was working on, and so I cured that, and you can see me holding like the little flashlight over it. That's me curing it, and then I added in some some leaves and just basically, twigs and trash that would be floating in the water. Not actual trash, but, sorry, I'm getting a detailed part right there, or a little tiny part right there. So I added in a little, a few little floaters, little bits of sand and whatnot. Just kind of sprinkled little decorations around, and then put another layer of resin down and cured that. The tree itself I made out of clay, and you can see me making it in that video as well. It's just air dry clay, or this is oven baked clay, I think. I normally have air dry clay. And I just oven baked it real quick. I love the little hole in there too. It's so awesome. Just made a little tree real quick and put branches on it whenever they were cooked. And then excuse me, I'm trying to decide what color. I'm going to do a shadow stone for their eyes real quick. And I just put some moss, scenery moss. It's around here somewhere. Just regular, you buy those little packs of scenery stuff, and that's all that is scenery moss. And I just kind of hung it over and glued it on as I was going. Alright, I really am doing eyeballs now, so I'm going to be quiet for a second. So I'm going to put red in their mouths, and then I'm going to use that dirty bone for their teeth. Yeah, I love doing anything with basing. It's just, for me, that's like the part that just really makes it mine. It's just so personal, you know? I get these amazing, beautiful sculpts that I get to slap some paint on and still get to call my art, but it doesn't really feel like that. But adding a base that really doesn't take all that long, it just really makes it to where it's unique, you know? And it really isn't difficult to do. I mean, trees are the easiest thing. I literally had a clump of clay that I just pushed down onto the base and then basically scraped and scraped it and stabbed it. That's it. Super simple. And then when I painted the tree, you can see that in the video as well on the side. I also did, and I'm just getting their teeth now. I also did put like 3 or 4 different shades of brown all on the paper where I was working, and I just let it blend on my brush as it wanted to. I wasn't careful with what color I was picking up. I wasn't careful if it was blending or not blending. I just let it happen naturally. No, Batbug, because I want everybody to do it with me. That's my goal, is to see 1,000,000 people making trees and swampy bases. It is a happy tree. It's not quite as happy as Treebeard, but it's pretty happy. Lately, I've been hearing a lot of people saying that I've inspired them to paint. And I mean, I can walk away happy now. I'm done. I'm good. That's like the biggest compliment in the world. To inspire anybody to do anything is just, that's freaking awesome. No choking.
Joking, not joking.
Oh, joking. I'm still thinking of the spaghetti, man. Okay, I need coffee. Those look like little snails. Is that what that is? That's awesome. All right. It's decision time. Actually, that's dry enough. So it's not decision time yet. I can just still dry brush. Snails are awesome. All right, so now I've got that wolf gray, and I'm going to dry brush all of this, all his leather, and it's going to be just like amazing, and all of a sudden he has fur on. Oh my God. You guys are nuts. It's awesome. Keep it up. One of these days, I will learn to stop putting paint on myself. I heard you. I can hear you snickering over there. It's never going to happen. That's why he's laughing. It's just, it's so easy because like everything else is way over here. My hand is just right here where I need it. No, I do not lick the brushes. You know, for those people who do, You do you, man, but I just... Nope, can't do it. At least if you're a brush licker, only lick your own brushes. If you ever go to like a paint and take and they have brushes, oh, don't lick those. Please don't lick those. Man, this one's got a big old butt. This is like a huge lump of an butt. Sorry. Caught myself. Okay, chat's kind of flying by me, so if I'm missing something, guys, I'm sorry.
If you're a brush licker, words I did not expect to ever hear.
Oh, you never know what's going to come out of my mouth. All right. So I think what I'm going to do is let that layer of dry brushing kind of... Oh, I keep missing parts. Let that part kind of finish up and let it dry. And while that's going, I'm going to highlight the skull. And basically what I'm going to do with that, since the dirty bone is already on there, all you need is a little bit of white and dry brushing, and it'll look like dried out bone. Dry my brush off here. Set him down for a sec. I've got a couple of things that I've got kind of saved off. Put a little white on this as well. Just on those more rounded parts. A couple of technical paints that I want to show how to use them, and then I also have, because he's going to be glued onto the base, but he doesn't really look like he's in the water like this. So what I've got some stuff set off to the side getting ready to kind of go in, and I'll show you how I'm going to get that final look of, you know, sinking his toes in the water, sort of, so to speak. All right. So there's a few pieces that I really want to highlight on the skull. So I'm just going to bring a fine tip brush in. Get that gem nice and white too. I didn't know you could zoom in either. That's kind of cool. All right. I am knocking things over trying to get to my paint. Let's see. We are going to take a dungeon slime. We're going to dry brush over the guy with the green hair. And then I don't see, let me find my purple color I wanted to use. There it is. And then I've got a sorcerer's mist that is going to dry brush over his hair. And I did pick to make him red on purpose because red and green are contrasting colors. So it just makes him stand out from the base really, really well. I don't always remember all of the, all of the colors that are on the color wheel and, you know, color theory and all of that kind of stuff. But it's easy enough to Google color wheel. Sorry, I missed that question, but yeah, Zombie Cora answered it fairly well. It's, if you think about putting your model down and putting a light on it, everywhere that light is touching, that's where you should really pick up those really highlights. Or for me, like, that is really cool, so I want to make sure other people see it, so I highlight it. It's a personal preference, but if you're going for realistic looking, then simply, got my light weird. Simply put a really bright spotlight on it, and you can see on this particular model, you know, he's where his body is casting a shadow, like his boob is hiding all of this sunken in area. So I'm not going to highlight this very much, but I'll put a much stronger highlight up here. The sympathy. Yes, that's exactly that's exactly right. Get another paint palette out. I can hear my kids still laughing about that. Oh. So we are going to be doing a drawing for this guy, but I do want to be crystal clear that Zombie Cora is one of my kids and Azumi Walker is another one of my kids, and they know they are not eligible to win this. And now the track of Lion King is playing in my head. Oh, okay, focus, focus, focus. You guys are awesome. I'm sorry. You're killing me, man. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. Like I'm trying to avoid looking at chat now, just so I can keep painting. Alright, I need to get a slightly smaller brush to get on that side over there. And for those of you who haven't watched before, makeup brushes, using the cheap ones, make the perfect dry brushing tools. Because realistically, you're going to ruin a brush when you dry brush with it. It's a very rough thing you're doing. So eventually it's going to get beat up. And makeup brushes are just, seems like they're made to take more abuse than paintbrushes. It's like the makers of paintbrushes never watched Bob Ross paint. My favorite part was always when he would clean his brush. Alright. So I'm going to keep with this smaller dry brush because his belt is a metal belt. So I put a nice deep color on there, but I'm going to dry brush some silver on there. Yes, beat the devil out of it. Man, that was an awesome show. I can still remember watching that when I was a kid. Back when TVs were black and white. I forgot he could see that. Okay, I lied. I'm not really dry brushing. I've got a lot of paint on but I've decided I wanted to go over these. He's got like a chain right here and some like balls. So I wanted to get those solidly painted brighter first. It's honestly the joy of painting is just doing whatever the hell you feel like doing. I've tried to paint along with him a few times, and I can't keep up with his speed. What'd I miss over there?
You know he says hashtag moist brushing.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was a dog toy. Of course, it's kind of hard to miss the squeaky ones because they like literally line the hallway. Oh, dang it. That's the trouble with having it on your fingers and not knowing. But it's okay. We'll wash it off. There we go. That's what Q-tips are for, right? Okay, apparently I got black on there too. I don't even know when I did that. Let's see. Cora, can you bring me Sir?
Okay.
We can probably get Sir in. I know we can get Sir in here. I'm not sure if we can get Mr. in here. Because he is a Boston. He's fairly large. Well, I mean, he's fairly small, but he's a large dog for us. I would also bring out my bearded dragon, but she is still currently shedding, so we're not going to mess with her because she gets cranky. All right, well, I hear one of them. Come here, Mister. Come see Mama. Come here, buddy. Got to get him to come over here. Come here, sister. Come here, buddy. Oh, come here. Okay, wait, before I actually show sister, I gave him a haircut, and he looks horrible, and I'm so sorry. But this is my sister. It's my little Shih Tzu. And his hair looks horrible. It's absolutely the worst. But He's a shorty, so he's okay. Say hi. Can you say hi? Mister, come here, buddy. Oh, you're gonna go see Daddy? Go see Daddy. Okay, go see Daddy. Oh, don't hit the camera. Come here. Come here. Oh, this is the big one. What? Come here. Oh, there's my mister. Say hi, mister. Yeah, we're working on the camera. Sorry, guys. Dogs grabbed it. Yeah, I don't think it's pointed right either anymore. Whoa. Get your little bow tie fixed. Okay, we got one camera back. Who's your pretty boy? Who's your pretty boy? Sir's running around. Cora, don't let him get the camera again. Cora, Mr. Sir, go that way. Go get him oh, just pick him up, baby.
I can't. He keeps running away.
Oh, there's Mister. Mister, look. What's this? Oh, what's this?
Come here.
That's Sir barking because he's jealous. Oh, you baby. Say hi.
Now we're all back.
Okay. So there's the babies. There's our babies. And this one. See if we can get him to do strokey face. Nope. Oh, wait. We're getting it a little bit there. Okay. Here. Oh, you're fine, buddy. Oh, we're going to come over. Oh, there we go. So there's the babies. Our big our big boy and our little boy. Okay, back to painting. I think we're still straight on all the cameras, yes?
We're good now.
Okay, we're good. Okay. That was funny.
Maybe for you.
I love them. They're awesome.
I now need a nap.
That was a little scary when he tripped on the camera cord because I thought the camera was going to go flying. That would not be a good thing. Okay, I am looking. There it is. There's my orange. So this is actually a dry paint. And if you look, I mean, it's just clumps of dry paint. But it's made for dry brushing. And that's kind of the difference you get is, like, this is a wash, and it is like just absolutely pure liquid. It's just almost like water. And then a dry brush paint is super thick, like this. I mean, it ain't coming out of there. That's how thick it is. And then just a layer paint is nice and just like a normal paint, what you would expect. And then there's specialty technicals. Like I have one, excuse me, I'm like hiccuping. Ooh. I have a technical that is made for using it for whenever you're doing rust. So one is a corrosive look, and it looks like gritty almost, and then the other one is an oxide kind of color, and so it looks like that rusted color. Or not rusted, but that green color.
Can you see Nobi's question?
No, I missed it. I'm sorry.
You see, wait, I missed.
Oh, no problems. This is the Citadel Dry Paint. So it's literally made for dry brushing. It's super thick, and it goes on the brush, and you can see like I'm not even really getting any off on my hand. And I just dipped in and I started getting more, but it's made for doing exactly what I'm doing, of trying to bring out the bumps on them and bring them to the more orange side. Because every time I've ever painted anything with a red look, the more orange I put into it, the more it looks red, the better it looks. Because a lot of times when I try to go red, it's... Yeah, Citadel, I don't really like their pods. They're good for dry brushes, but like any liquid paint, I don't really like the pods things that they have. I like being able to pour it into a little dish. And Vallejo is my favorite paint, but I use a lot of Reaper paint too, which is really also very, very good. And the key to dry brushing, or well, the key to any paint job really, is just not going super heavy all at once. Yeah, actually, sorry, troll. That's actually something that I'll do when I'm painting with regular Citadel paint, is I will open up the pod and it'll kind of kick it back, and I'll just take a brush and kind of scoop it and get a glob of it inside there, and then I just kind of paint from that spot. The main problem I really have with these is the shades being in this. If this thing is open and I knock this over, which I have a gazillion times, you lose the entire thing. It's just, and I mean, me and Cora have literally sat there trying to like scoop the paint all back into there. Because it's not exactly cheap paint, but it's, so if you spill an entire thing, you do want to kind of try to get it back. It's not fun. But no, I try not to go too heavy all at once, and just layering up the highlights that I want to do. You can always come back over it over and over until it's where you want it. You say they're the easiest. I find that completely wrong. I hate cleaning up shades. I guess it's because I've had to do it so much. It's a little too much on his face right there. So like I'm hitting, you know, this section of his leg that bulges out, and this section of his leg that bulges out, and I'm kind of avoiding these creases down inside in between those two spots. I am going to have to get a little bit of that red out to fix that black spot. Lay you down, because I know you're just going to fall over on me. How are we looking on time?
It is 7:26 now.
Not too bad. But I do need to hurry up.
We'll do the drawing just before 8, even if you're not done yet.
Yeah, that sounds good. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but we'll do the drawing a little around 8, even if I'm not done yet. I'll just keep going while Tyler's working on that part. All right. I am going to move on to the bottom of his feet so that that can get dry. But that's actually why I had this corrosive out, because it looks, get that out, it looks like mud. And it's a little textured. It's not completely textured, but it's a little textured. So what I wanted to do with it is put it on the bottom of his feet and just kind of dab it on and dab it around to just give him those muddy feet from walking around. And, you know, the splashes up on the heels, that sort of thing. You know, the crud in between the toes. But it's not something that, you know, you want to be like a solid thing of paint, because that's not the way mud reacts. I actually had to reorganize my desk today because it was just a kerfuffle of things every which way. And there was no way I was going to be able to paint in here tonight. I'm using the Q-tip more than I am the paintbrush. The paintbrush I'm kind of using to slap it on. And then the Q-tip is just a little damp. And I'm using it to kind of, you can see it's kind of appearing and disappearing and smudging. And but now he has muddy toes. As he should, because he's going in a swamp. And also he should have very ugly toenails. So I'm going to get those darkened up with this. And also, if you're walking through the swamp, you'd get it on your lower pieces of fabric. So I'm just brushing straight up to kind of give that muddy feel. Maybe he sat a little bit. And just kind of sploosh it on. All right, so now we've got our mud on. Yeah, and I'm really liking how it's kind of splashy around his foot. Yeah, I'm kind of happy with how that looks. I should probably take a little bit more up the back of his legs, but it's like you got to know when to stop, and I may be stopping too soon. I haven't decided yet, but that's also the beauty of it. You can always come back and do a few more little tidbits here and there. All right, so now, oops, I'm knocking things around again. I need you. So this is an orange shade. And this you can really see how thin it is. You can hear how thin that is. So this is the ones you have to really be careful with from Citadel. And I'm just going to use this to kind of tone the whole pig down to the same kind of color tone. And you'll see how it just kind of all comes together. And I still end up with these highlights and lowlights, but it's all in that same family. And this is actually, you can see these weird cutouts there and here. That's actually where he sits in the troll's hands. And then I'll need to come back when this is dry and get his little eyeballs, which I think pig's eyes are black. Am I wrong? Not sure. Ty, you might have to Google that for me real quick.
I'll check right now.
And their snout too, I can't remember. Not that it really matters, but I like to do that when I can.
Looks like they're mostly a dark pupil with a pink iris.
Okay. And you can see where my shade is pooling right here. Pooling is a bad thing, so I'm just going to dab it away. Because what you'll end up with is a very harsh line that just, it looks like a puddle of paint was sitting there. So, Q-tips are your friend. A lot of people use paper towels instead, and I just find that I can get a lot more accuracy with the Q-tip. Put him down so I can get the other spots. Ow. That was my wrist popping. He's so hard because he's like everywhere. What color are their snouts, babe?
Their snouts. You're talking about at the end, right?
Yeah.
It's pink.
Pink. Okay. I'll bring a highlight back on that. And then what I'll do is get his little hoofies to black. And then the pig will be done. Pretty simple there. So, I think I'm going to actually use the same shade on Mr. Trollman. But I'll be more selective with this and put it where I want those shadows to be rather than everywhere. It really depends, honestly, for me, like, there's some minis that I paint that are not mini. They're, huge. And I do use acrylics on those. It really is more about what you use to protect them when you're done painting. Also, is it a showpiece that you're going to put into something and then put it in a case and it's going to live there forever? If it's coated, then I don't think you'll regret it at all. If it's something that you're going to play with all the time, acrylic might be more likely to come off, but if you've got a nice base coat, not base coat, I'm sorry, a nice clear coat on it, then it should be fine. And even if you do start to see something coming up, you can easily touch up that paint and clear coat it again, and you should be fine. I started with the very first mini I ever painted was at a convention, so I used all the different paints that they had available. And because I didn't clear coat it, and I didn't do a base coat either. I just started painting. That paint is all now flaking off in troves, but it's sitting in my glass display case now, and it's proudly sitting there because it's a reminder of what I did wrong and how not to do that again. And it was also, my very first mini ever painted, so I love her. And she's amazing. Yes, exactly. Zombie Cora. That is a very good point. Make sure you thin your paint down because you don't want to lose your details. So it's really important that you don't start with thick layers. You really want to be doing thin layers of everything. Get off his muddy feet. And be careful when you do clear coats. If you're going to do a spray clear coat, you want the weather to be good because otherwise it will get foggy. Which if it does, don't panic. I did. I freaked completely out. Wait until it's a nicer day, low humidity, all that kind of stuff, and then spray it again and it'll become clear again. What I use is I have this big giant thing for a gloss coat, and it's just acrylic gloss. That's it. And then I have a spray for matte, or I have a tiny little bottle. Oh, I just dropped my little man. That's my matte varnish. I have this tiny little bottle of matte varnish as well. So this is what I use when it's bad outside. Like today, I absolutely wouldn't do it. It's been storming. I would be worried about the humidity messing with the finish. So this piece, I'll use my matte varnish, and I'll also use the gloss varnish because the whole base needs to be shiny except for the tree. The pig is going to be done in a gloss, and most of him will be done in a matte, but I'll have his eyes and his mouth and his teeth all in a gloss, as well as his feet will be in a gloss because I want those to look wet. Anywhere I want to look wet will be done with the gloss. Speaking of teeth, we need to make those look rotten. So I'm going to get my very fine tip brush, and I'm going to take just a little bit of this shade that's this orange color, and I'm going to bring it just barely touching at the gum line. And it's going to make a very, very subtle difference. It's one of those things where you may never actually notice that it's there, but you definitely notice when it's not there. It's like if you walk outside and you don't see your shadow, you're like, what the hell? But if you walk outside and you do see your shadow, you don't stop and say, hi, shadow. You just know it's there. It's no big deal. Kind of get under their noses as well. Make it have that dark look. And I will let it pool underneath their nose. Jake, you're most welcome to actually say hello to your shadow. That is fine. No one will look down on you for that. And your shadow will thank you. It hates being ignored. Alright, so we've got muddy feet. We've got all that done. So now we need to do his gemstone. So what I'm going to use is this technical. And again, I have a lot of different paints because I've been painting for 5 years. So hey, this is something new, so I buy one or two here or there. It's not a big deal. But you absolutely don't have to get these. You can do this with a thin coat of just blue. So what I did was I took this nice and bright and white, and the technical, I don't know, I hope you can see that. I kind of have a bubble of it on my brush. So what I'm going to do is start at the top and drag it down and try to leave that puddle at the bottom. Because if you think about it, what a gemstone looks like is it's got that highlight up at the top where it's almost white, but then the color gets really solid at the base of that gem. Sorry, I'm reading Jake's message. So what you really want is that thicker paint at the bottom, and it'll shine like a gemstone. And that is the gemstone done. All right, so he is basically done. So now the fun bit of placing him on here. I'm going to put the tree to his back. And the pig's going to attack him. Yay! Get my super glue out. So I'm going to put the pig in his hands first. So, oh, wow. Forgot this was a new thing of super glue, not the old one. So that's way too much in there. Just throw that away. Okay, that's better. Now, this is not going to be exactly easy to wedge him in, but I'll get there in a second. And this isn't that, you know, absolutely instant super glue, but it is fairly quick. There we go. All right. So he's in there now. So that's what he looks like. And I really just completely ruined that gemstone. Ah, oh, damn it. Okay, that's fine. I can fix it. See, this is what painting is. Putting things the way you want them and then messing them up and then fixing them. So what I'm going to do to fix that is I'm going to actually take it back to white. Because if you can see that, I smudged it all over the place. So I need to like clean this up as well. Okay, there's that part. Yes, we can always rebuild. Realistically, I mean, if it really is a bad thing that happens, you can actually just remove the paint if you haven't like sprayed it. Michael Mordor actually just did a whole show on cleaning up old paint and fixing old paint jobs. It was really good. Sorry, I was blowing it dry. A glow effect is whenever, so let's say that our pig was not a pig, say that it was a lantern that he was getting ready to throw. Glow effect would be the effect that was happening from your light source of the lantern that would be reflecting down on the mini itself, which can be hard to do. And the worst part about a glow effect is overdoing it. That is definitely one that less is more. A subtle glow effect works way better than, you know, just slapping it on there, which is what I did with my first glow effect. I had a spider lady who was holding a fireball in her hand, and I literally did, the whole side of her face was yellow, and her whole, oh, I forget what a spider's butt is called, but the whole back side of her butt was yellow, and it was just way, way too much. Where's my coffee? So,
It's called
a drider, my spider lady.
a drow spider. Yeah.
A drow spider. But anyway, she, so I definitely overkilled. But I just recently finished painting a corrupted phoenix for, you know who I am actually. And I did a glow effect from the base around where the eggs are, there's a fire. So I had a glow effect coming around the base and coming up the side of the rocks that were there. And it just really subtle. It is super fun to do. It really is a lot of dry brushing. And just keeping it subtle is the absolute best way to go. Okay, you know what? I'm going to use this little shade because I forgot to do his eyes, and now I can't actually get to that eye. So he's going to get one eye done. And those tusks need to go white. So excited about putting him on his base. I feel like I'm rushing past everything else. Fireball is never overkill. Unless it's on a piece an NPC that's just a cabbage vendor. My cabbages. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure he had demons hiding in there.
He just didn't. Alright. Need to get his little hoofies. You know what? We're going to use that mud as well for that. Yeah, it's not really fun when you're constantly getting counterspelled. But at least if I'm getting counterspelled, other people are getting their spells through. It just sucks when I'm the cleric and I'm getting counterspelled and everyone's falling over. But it's okay, Jake, because we killed you. It's fine. Jake died, we're happy. Just trying to identify the hooves. Okay. Alright, we got muddy feet, we got a muddy base, we got basically done everything, so we are going to glue him down. Because then we get to do the next fun bit of making him look like he's got water on his feet. I'm totally not reading right now.
You know he says only evil DMs counter cure wounds.
No shit.
Hashtag war crime.
Oh. It was very painful to have my big cures getting counterspelled. And you know, just FYI, it wasn't only one. There was multiples that got counterspelled. Nope. Okay. Gotta hold them a little bit longer. It's the only downside to this resin is it might be a little too shiny. So if it doesn't stick in here in a minute, then I'll just scuff it up and get it. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to scuff it. Get him where he's not sticking to anything. Alright. I'm gonna have to take it off screen to do that though. Sorry guys. I'm literally just scratching it with my file that I have sitting here for minis. Sometimes you just gotta give it something to grab onto.
we'll be doing the drawing in about 5 minutes.
All right, 5 minutes, guys. Got to be present to win. So if you've got other people that are wanting to win, you better tell them to get on quick.
And follow.
And follow. Yeah, see, that's already starting to stick better. All right. Come on. So, the fun part that we get to do is now add the water to where it's on him as well. And the way I'm going to do that is not with more resin. Come on, you. There we go. I am going to actually glue him down a little bit better because he is being a pain in my butt. Yes. That's partially the reason I put the tree where I put it, is so that I could hook him onto the tree too, if he was going to be a pain. Okay. So we're not going to use more resin on his base because that would take too long to cure, or if I put the other resin on there, I wouldn't get the effect I want. So what I'm actually using is this medium gloss, and it's made for mixing with acrylic paints and that sort of thing. But what I've done is I've poured some of it out into another container earlier today so that it would get kind of thick and gloopy. And you can just see it's kind of just pooling and stuff. So this, when it dries, it'll dry completely crystal clear like the resin. So what I'm going to do is literally slather it on here. And this is just a little, what do you call it? Fake popsicle stick. Well, it's actually like you buy them in the crafting section, and they're popsicle sticks, but they're tiny. But what I'm going to do is kind of slather it on and push it around, and that's why I wanted it out in the cup, so that it would get more malleable. Because straight out of the bottle, it's fairly liquid. And it's not, I can't really manipulate it. But yes, that's exactly how I do waves and ripples and things. So if I was going to do waves, I would absolutely use this. But he's in the swamp and he's kind of trudging through, so it wouldn't realistically, because there's a troll in a swamp. So yeah, let's go for realism here. In my world, realistically, he wouldn't be creating waves, but what he would be creating is kind of that pool that goes out from him, the ripple effect. So all I'm going to do is kind of smudge it around his feet, and it will make it look like his feet are in the water. And then I'll do the ripples coming out from his feet. And I may have to wait for it to get a little more sturdy to hold that ripple. But you can see that it's kind of starting to want to hold the ripple. When I move through, it's almost holding its space, but it's not quite. So I may have to finish this completely up later and let it get a little more solid. I guess I didn't have it out quite long enough. But it does dry completely clear. So what I'll also do is, once I've got those ripples in where I want them, I will also hit it with a really light, almost dry brush of white to give that circle ripple out from his feet where he stepped and made that ripple come out. But you can see how it's almost holds its shape, but it's not quite. So we are going to have to wait a little bit longer, but that's okay. You can see what I'm doing, of just tapping it, and once it holds that shape, it would stay there. See how it's almost holding that ripple, but not quite, so I will have to wait. Yeah, the heat gun might actually work. Yeah, I've never actually tried the heat gun on this. But the heat gun is also kind of loud. But I definitely will try that. I wonder if maybe we can just mute us, and then I can try the heat gun on it. I'm going to drop a little from his...
Sure to warn me.
Well, you got to hand me the heat gun, too.
Oh, where? Oh, this one?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna set it.
Okay.
You gotta let me mute it first.
Yeah. Well, actually, while I'm...
in.
Yeah, while I'm doing this, I guess you can't do the drawing while we're muted.
I mean, I can do it whenever, but I can't announce it.
Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and mute. So this is gonna be silent time. Everybody, shh. And I'm gonna use the heat gun and see if it will help speed this up so you can see me make the ripples.
So we're gonna wait to do drawing after?
You can go ahead and do the drawing, and we can announce it when we're done.
Okay.
So we're gonna mute, and then shh. Okay, so it did work, but a couple of tips. If you happen to be using a, um, what are they called? Self-repairing cutting mat, heat and those don't mix. So now my mat is very, very warped. I don't know if you can see him kind of dancing.
You're just trying to get a new one.
No, I have multiple new ones. I mean, I have multiples around the house anyway because I sew a lot, so I have a lot of these. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to paint on this anymore. But you can see how the heat gun absolutely did work. It helped dry it, so you can see how certain parts are becoming clear already, and you can see these mounds of water. When they dry, they will be clear as well. So, thanks, Gayla. No, I mean it really is. It's just to protect my desk, and I have two in my office for cutting, and Tyler has one on his desk for cut. I mean, they really do protect everything that we're working with. So, yeah, I knew that this one was already a little bit warped because I had ironed on it. I didn't have enough padding, so I should have known that was going to happen, but I didn't think about it. But you can see, it is a super cool effect that happens, and if you're just doing with the heat gun works really, really well if you're not doing it on a mat. But otherwise, it worked really well. And we do have a name of the winner, and that is going to be a drum roll of all of my paintbrushes falling over. Yay! So do you want to come over and announce the name?
I sure will. The winner is, I'm sure. Look at this again. The winner is Dragon Eye 3120.
Congratulations, Dragon Eye. Yay. So you're going to have to message with Tyler and get all of your details so that we can ship this little guy to you. He will not be shipped right away because you can see all of this still has to become completely solid. And then I will be doing a few little more details of getting that white and everything else. Just the very crests of the tips of the water will become white so that they look like those ripples. And it'll be a really fine line. So, but other than that, I think he is done. Where's my little thingy? There he is. So, there, he can spin. Don't think you can actually see him very well from that angle. But I finished within time, and I'm so happy. I actually finished a little bit early, but I wanted to make sure that I got to the water effect because I really wanted you guys to be able to see how I do that water, and I absolutely love using this stuff. And the combination of doing the resin with the acrylic medium is it is absolutely my favoriteest thing in the world. Those two combined just works great. Yeah, I love my little spinner. I actually got this whenever I first started 3D printing so that I could put a mini on this, and I built a little box where I could have him rotate within the box and have lights going. But I soon found out my lights were not actually the right wavelength, so my box didn't work very well at all. You know, of course, do the follow thing, do the shares, you know. Oh, and a couple other little business side notes. When we get to 50 followers, we will be giving away another mini. And I'm pretty sure I already know what mini that's going to be, but we'll see. I have a few that I really am desperate to paint. So it again will be the same thing where whatever I'm painting the night that we hit 50, that'll be it. But I'm going to plan carefully, I think. Next week we will not be live streaming. Our son is coming home for his vacation from the Army. He's going to be here for a week, so we're going on a little camping trip, and then that'll be awesome and fun. So we are not going to be live next week. What I am doing is working on a bunch of I'm painting a bunch of different minis, and I'm filming myself painting. So hopefully we're going to have a bunch of these ready and posting to YouTube. So there's still going to be a whole bunch of different ones that are going to be shown. Oh, you don't want me to tease you? Okay, so the ones that I'm thinking about doing for the giveaway is I have one that is a beholder, except it's not a beholder, it is a tree. So that's one possible one. The other one I am looking at is the Corrupted Phoenix that I printed him. And I've told you I've been playing with the colors of resin that I can print. So he's printed in a kind of bluish, greenish, weird color that it's not all one solid color. So I'm thinking about painting him up and showing, that one. And then also I have this big, gnarly tree that literally has people that have been sucked into it. I think I can get it to focus. I hope it is. He's got people in him and vines growing out, and that's his mouth. Roar! And then the other possibility, I'm thinking I might print something from, I am printing yes, trees. I love trees. I'm reading text and I'm lost track. I also have a couple of, this is why I'm like, I don't know exactly which one I'm going to do, but I'm definitely going to be doing something cool. I've got a couple of different dinosaurs that I'm really want to print and paint. So basically it's either going to be a dinosaur, or it's going to be a tree, or it's going to be the phoenix, or it's going to be, I lost the other one that I said. I have so many different files that I can print that I just don't know what it's going to be. If I do this tree that I've got sitting next to me, he'll have a really cool base, because one of my other favorite things to do is mushrooms. So I'm thinking like a very rich, lush forest ground, and then have, mushrooms and everything else, and then this gnarly, bloody, raw tree. So, yes, actually, that sounds awesome. We will get a list together. When we hit 40 followers, I will pick out 5 or 6 different minis, and then, I know I love mushrooms. And then we will literally have a vote, and you guys can pick which one I'll do and which one we'll give away. So, that's perfect. So I think that's definitely what we'll do. I want to paint the white on there, but it's not ready. But you can see how it's getting more and more clear as it dries. But by tomorrow morning, this will be completely crystal clear again. So, and it really puts it to where his feet are part of that water. So, anyway, any other questions? Any other comments? Because we are early and I'm happy. Just kind of reading text. Yes, you are. I'm really glad you could make it, Kayla. I appreciate you coming on and watching. You're more than welcome, Batbug. And thank you guys so much for following. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, it's going to be so much fun. Make sure that you reach out to Ty and we get all of your information so that we can get you your mini whenever he's completely cured and coated. Because he does, like, I do have to get him sprayed and coated and all that kind of stuff so that he is safe for travels. Roar. Oh, and I hope you guys could see it in the thing, but like I even made underneath here hollow. So it like goes all the way through. Oh, and I have to put his gemstone back on. I just really remembered that. So I'm going to do that real quick. I'm really glad you could make it this time. I was really happy to see you on here. Almost forgot his gemstone. I can't believe I did that. It's a mimic in there. It always is a mimic. All right, there. That's fixed at least. So now all I have to do is give those highlights on the water, and then this will all be gloss coated. And then the pig will be gloss coated. Eyes and mouth will be gloss. Kind of splashing up the feet will be gloss. And then everything else will be a matte coat. And Mr. Troll is done. That's awesome. Glad to hear it. Yeah, I mean, other than next week, we should be every Tuesday at 6:30. Well, see, the beautiful thing about it being a baby mimic is I can print that, so I can make it itty bitty little tiny mimic, and that would be kind of awesome. But honestly, like the smaller things are, the harder they are to paint. So I printed a Texas toast. Can you tell I'm hungry? A torture toaster that literally fit on the tip of my pinky. It didn't work, but you know, it was really funny. So, well, I think we're going to go ahead and end a little bit early since we're done. Thanks again, guys, for watching and coming on. Yes, it was absolutely cute. Cora almost had one working that was tiny, but it didn't quite work. So, but thanks again for watching. Do the follows, do the likes, do all this stuff, and keep in mind to check out our YouTube, because we'll have some videos coming out there, including some of the ones that I am painting for You Know Me. Some of those I filmed me painting, so you'll be able to watch that happen. Nice and, well, not live, but, you know, you'll be able to watch it. And we're going to speed those videos up, so they'll be fairly quick videos, but there won't be any talking or anything. I'm just watching my hands go. So, yes, everyone have a wonderful, great 4th of July, and have a good next week as well. And we'll see you the time after next time. Night, guys.